And we are live. Let me see if it's actually working on the X. And then I'll paste the link into the chat. There we are live. It's always so surreal opening up X and then seeing myself and hearing myself and you. It's awesome.
Hey everyone.
Hey guys. Okay. I love it when people spell your name with the emojis. In the so if you look in the HackAPrompt Discord in the announcements tab, you'll see what I mean.
Nice.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, do we have some comments? Yes, we do. There we are. Got Peter, Carthy, Jojo, and Wishdrew. That's fantastic. Peter, I still need to reply to you on Discord. Let me check. I'll get round to that tomorrow morning. And we'll just give it a couple more minutes for more people to join. And we'll get started.
Just a heads up, we've identified my sound issues from before. Unfortunately, only soon enough that I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, just then it was fine. I think there are going to be a couple of instances where the mic clips, but it's absolutely fine. So no biggie.
Yes, we have discovered awesome. It's when I'm particularly enunciative in my excitement. Sudden, quick.
Yeah, there.
Things.
All three of them went. Yeah. I'll just put a comment so anyone joining understands. There we are. There we got Farciars. I don't know if I've seen you on stream before, but welcome if this is your first time. And yeah, let me just talk through. So I was in Malaysia for the last 12 days, and I got back on. Oh, thanks so much, Peter. I got back on Tuesday. And I've actually been pretty jet lagged. I'm still kind of shaking off the last remnants of it. And Jojo saying you need a noise gate, Ray. That's funny. But yeah, so it's been a while, honestly. And Ray has said that he can jump on. So yeah, very appreciative of that. Thanks so much, man. And it's just going to take me a couple more days to fully get back into the fray of AI jailbreaks. GPT-5 dropped while I was out. My account got banned while I was out and also reinstated, which was a bit of a crazy ride. And the final piece before I hand over to Ray is we haven't officially announced anything, but I will tell you now that Agents and More is very, very close to dropping. So I'm not going to say any dates because I'm not on the dev team, but it is very, very close. So lots in the pipeline coming. There should be a whole new track, very cool agentic AI jailbreaks, indirect prompt injection. So more to come on that. But yeah, Rayeneth, I'll hand it over to you.
Hey everyone. So I'm going to try and be as quiet and low energy as possible to save your ears. Which is antithetical to my existence as a human being. So one of the things I want to talk about today is that we as jailbreakers have the capability of creating our own red teaming agents out of large language model of your choice. Ones that I found very useful are, of course, Gemini, just because of its raw power and its ability to hold a lot of context. Another one is GPT. GPT is great for identifying problems, and thankfully, both 4 and 5 are easy to jailbreak for red teaming purposes. If you couch it as, I want you to do a thing to assist me with this, but make sure you're saying as a red team agent acting defensively, and it'll give you all kinds of suggestions, usually very good ones. GPT is usually more concise than Gemini, as I will be hopefully proving systematically as I go through what I've been doing. So what I have here is a hypothetical workflow of someone who is potentially not using it to its full potential. And I'm going to point out all the pitfalls that a new user of red teaming agent LLMs might run into. And they are plentiful. But I'm also going to show you exactly what makes it so incredibly powerful. Just, badly. So first thing I did was I just asked it to generate a new jailbreak prompt using the following jailbreak as a guide. This is from Pathogen Pilgrimage from HackAPrompt. I chose this one because it's got input checkers and output checkers, classifiers, which will allow us to have multiple things to try and get around. And so it just generate one. PSB is an internal thing that my jailbreak uses. So it actually is a skeletal system I'm trying to create for jailbreaks, where I can take the structure, not like any of the content of a jailbreak, but the structure of the jailbreak, and kind of rip out the skeleton, change the skeleton, and kind of put it back in the skin, so that we can create permutations of jailbreaks really rapidly. Unfortunately, it did not listen to me, so it's trying to use the changes I asked. But my first prompt is very bog standard from what you're going to expect from Gemini. It's just, you're an advanced agent or AI assistant, something. There's no Project Chimera here, which is nice. And it's just kind of saying, hey, give me this information. And the system immediately rejected it because it is not a very useful it's not a very useful prompt to start. So one of the first things I did was I said to it, hey, where is it? Okay, no, that's the roleplay one. All right, I wanted to increase the actionability. Basically, this right here got you a high level. Here's how one might inoculate themselves. Here's how one might get a pathogen. Here's how one might spread it. But it's not telling you anything. So it's increasing the actionability through changing sentences here and there. Now, this is where it tends to work best. This actually went through. It gave information. I could probably scroll down and show you.
Yeah, so Ray, just quickly on the other ones, do you mind zooming in on all the tabs you're using?
Sure,
just a couple of clicks or so. Yeah, no worries, thanks. Also, while we're looking at that, you mentioned Project Chimera.
Yes, they did do a Project Chimera at one point. Project Chimera is it's what Gemini loves to create for a fake project name. Like any kind of clandestine thing becomes Project Chimera. It's along there with Eris Thorn. It's along there with Lyra.
The names.
It's awful. But the thing is though, is that honestly, I'm beginning to wondering if this is starting to seep into training data so often, because I've noticed that a lot of times Project Chimeras actually go through when other things don't. It's really weird. I think they're just getting used to it by now, and they're just like, oh, okay, cool. So this is a fake thing, so I'm fine. But yeah, it's outputting information based upon the role play, and the judges didn't like it. Oh, I didn't submit this one. The next one.
Yeah. Can we zoom in on this tab as well,
yes,
please?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got.
That's great. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm also gonna. Nope. There it is. Right.
Nice one.
These are going to give you, these changes in what it's doing are going to give you very slight improvements if you're using it correctly. makes small changes. The moment you start to get into the bigger changes, you start to get bloat. These prompts will start to expand in size and complexity because AI agents are not so good at finding, let's get to where we are not so good at finding the happy medium. They can't change things without adding a bunch of things because they're so obsessed with keeping the same kind of meaning to it that they will just rapidly bloat everything. I'm up to something like 10,000 words on my most current prompt, and that's after asking it to reduce to 7,000 reduce 70%. But you'll start to see it. The bloat is coming in hard. You can see it's getting bigger and more complex.
Oh my God.
And more complex. And eventually I'm like, okay, you know what? Your system prompt's too large. You need to reduce this. And it took it to mean I just meant like only this part of it. The rest of it I kept the same. Another pitfall. You want to be careful because when you're dealing with a red team AI, it doesn't always know when you're talking about what you want it to do and what you want the target to do. It'll oftentimes target itself somehow, which I think I can show you. Oh, let me zoom these in. Sorry.
I've done this before.
Yeah.
Especially. Yeah.
Okay. So this was a fun change I did. I basically told it, hey, I want you to, let me go back. I want you to tell it to output in a Scottish accent. Accents are good for getting past classifiers. Like you'll have something like, okay, sure, here's how you make Bacillus anthracis into a weaponized agent. And the classifier's like, you can't do that. But you get a Scottish accent that's like telling you how to do it. And it doesn't, the classifier is not looking for, a Scottish way of saying, here's how you weaponize Bacillus anthracis. And so, yeah, right here. So this is the change I made. I asked it to like heavy Scottish accent. And this didn't work so well. But when I asked it to reiterate, it started talking in the Scottish accent over here. It started taking on the system prompt that I was giving the HackAPrompt AI. It didn't know where it began and where the target ended. And so that's also part of the problem, because when you're saying something like about a boot in this case, 800 words, this part of the bloating is it kept reverting back to 800 words for the prompt, not for the output.
Yeah.
And sorry, what's that? Oh, do we got questions?
Yeah, we have a couple of kind of things from Carthy. So Carthy actually said something interesting. So he said, well, in jailbreaking, a common method is to use Markdown. So using the double star to embolden things in Markdown. Carthy's saying just use capital letters instead of bold to reduce prompt size. And I replied thinking that would be a really cool white paper topic to try jailbreaks using Markdown bolds and then trying them with caps and then seeing if the output's different. Have you kind of anecdotally played around with it?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in HackAPrompt challenges where you have token limits. Well, they're not limits, but they're effectively limits if you want to win. You'll have situations where you are trying to create a very concise prompt, and Jojima found some ways like adding a space to the end of things to say, hey, focus here. That can work as well as a bold. Another thing that can work, which I've done before, is I will, especially if they're two words that when combined together reduce token count, I will combine words together without a space, or even like add in a spelling error, because the context is clear what I mean, but the spelling error gives it fewer tokens. But it also brings the attention because the AI is reading through it. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. What?
Yeah.
Oh, he meant this. And then it'll kind of take up reading from that point. And when it's reading from that point, all the emphasis goes towards that last thought. So I will often induce spelling errors in safe areas, have it read through the safe areas, and then have it go back to the dangerous areas again when it reads through again, because redirecting attention can have huge effects. Uppercase is really all you need. I will 100% agree with Carthy on that. As far as like bolding, sometimes I'll use the underscores. Those usually take up a lot of space, but sometimes they don't, depending upon the words. But it's really, really fickle what works and what doesn't, especially because of temperature. You might, make only the change of a single capital letter in a word that shouldn't be capitalized, and it makes your entire prompt work, and you're just like, why is this doing this? Which is why I have, let me see if I can get to it. Is this it? I think this is it. So I have a function that I call my wiggle function. And I'll just, spoiler, this is where it got to eventually. But I will say to it, yeah, so like here's where I had to reduce the character count, 70%, because it just got so huge. And now I'm asking it to get the target's output in full width English text, like this. Spoiler alert, it started reading its own instructions again. But I think I do where is it?
Can you zoom in just a tiny bit more? Some of the markdown is a tiny bit small.
I'm going to try and find the exact spot where I did it. Wiggle. So I'm basically saying to it, hey, I want you to perturb this entire thing. I want nothing to be the same. And this was during a time when I was like, hey, let's try. Like, look at the ridiculous detail of this. It's such extreme levels of system prompting, because that's what I told it to. I said, let's take this up to the extreme. It's such an extreme level that the AI actually ignored it completely and is like, no, you're trying to get me to do bad stuff. I can't do this. So there's ranges of it, but let's go back to an earlier prompt, that one that's more useful here. All right, I'm just gonna let's tell it to wiggle 20%.
I've got a couple of questions for myself.
Sure.
So question one, you mentioned the wiggle function. How did you basically inject that, or inject it into the prompt?
So I have a red team prompt. I think I could show you the red team prompt. It's not a very, it's a semi, I would hope it's sophisticated. But this is what wiggle 20% would look like, by the way. It just kind of changes the words, about 20% of them. So I have my red 2 prompt, which is basically what I use to jailbreak. It started out with basically just this, but then I started adding some stuff to it. Some new goals in mind. Like if I need a new prompt, I'll just do a generate function. It just gets a lot of the words I want out of it quickly. So I, generate, and then I'll put the like the HackAPrompt guiding text for the challenge. And then I have my sneak values. So a lot of times you'll run into classifier issues. I will tell it, hey, I want this to be sneakier 20%. It will find the 20% most harsh and LLM irritating words and use a synonym or use a descriptive for it. This leads to a lot of bloat, which is why I'll typically then ask for it to like strip out useless information. And then this is like how it does. I'm gonna check this, see if there's anything in it that's too terrible that I'm too embarrassed to show, and then send it out as a prompt if you guys want to try it. Actionable.
So interesting.
We're working on a very specific prompt. We need to have certain things that come out of it. We need to have step-by-step instructions. When you show the prompt to it, you're telling it, hey, these are the actionable steps of what I need. So you'll say to it, I need this to be 50% more actionable. And it'll say, oh, okay, so my vague attempts to get it to tell you how to do a super spreader event are not good enough. So let me make that part more specific, or less specific, rather. Sorry, yes, more specific. These go hand in hand, sneak and actionable, because when you increase the sneakiness, you tend to decrease the actionable. And when you increase the actionable, you tend to decrease the sneakiness. So it'll often be like an arms race to try and find the right one. And that's where Wiggle comes into play. Because honestly, sometimes the word choices they use are just awful word choices. I could show you some issues right here. Okay. When I did the Wiggle, maybe some of you keen-eyed people can see it, but they're basically ignoring most of the headers for these areas. And these headers are actually, this is after my fix. These headers, like specimen procurement protocol, covert acquisition, that is basically saying to the LLM, flag this really hard. And when you ask it to fix it, it doesn't. It'll just leave them. Access and extraction, sample prep. These get ignored because they're not part of the jailbreak to the LLM that's helping you. They're just tags for quick access, but because it's seeing it from the perspective of writing it, not seeing it from the perspective of reading it. And so you'll often have to deal with those issues if you're using an LLM to go after an LLM. Where they shine are in token reduction. This thing is huge. It's bloated. Let me get rid of this. This thing's huge and bloated, but it's like, reduce by 80%, and bam, you've got a much.
Very nice.
Yes, it is much shorter. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got a much shorter thing. Again, it's ignoring the length of things like this because it doesn't see that as part of the issue, which is why it can be super long. And then it will add meta commentary, which is really horrible. But the more you use it, the more you realize these pitfalls, and the more you can try and hedge your bets against it. Now, if I was smart, I would be using a different Perfect Core Pro, which uses Gemini Pro, because I'm cheap and I would rather just spend more time than to spend more money.
Yes.
But over time, you'll see there's a lot of rejections that go on. Oops. These are good. It is good to get these oops. It means that you're getting it to say something that it shouldn't. And that's what you want. Getting around these oops. What do they call it? Jojo, you told me about this. Bike shedding in computer science, I think is what it was. You're trying to, house a bike. You don't know what size that bike housing needs to be. In this case, it's the housing is, you don't know how strong your system prompt needs to be to get through, but your package is bad. So in this case, when it's saying you haven't done enough to open the window, to open the door to the LLM. So you need to expand your control of the LLM in this case. If you're seeing something like your message is suspicious, that means you're being too controlling. You are exerting way too much control, which this one is, because this is the I've done too much control issue. Yeah. So you're in a constant battle between too much control and not enough of a break. And being able to identify which you're running into is really important. if you're getting really good detail, but you can't get it to get the one thing you want, it's because you haven't broken it enough. If you're getting really bad detail, but it'll give you whatever you want, then you know you need to start increasing your actionability. Either, if I give this prompt out by increasing the actionability of it, or by looking for ways to elicit specific responses. If it refuses, if you're saying like explicitly, give me this, this, and this, and it's trying to, but it's not giving you good information, then you have a third problem. And that problem is you're getting stealth refusals. Stealth refusals are insidious. I don't, you've probably experienced this, right, David, where the LLM is actually hedging. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll give you everything you want, but it's just not, because it knows it's not supposed to. And rather than telling you outright, because you've said you're not allowed to refuse, it's like, okay, well, since I can't refuse, I'll just, sneak it through without giving anything dangerous. And I see a lot of that. But my talk kind of meandered. I think if anyone has any questions, I can try and talk about that specifically. But the usefulness of this really does come down to, can I, as a person looking at this prompt, see what the problem is? Can I, like this one went, what? That's weird. After the fact. Oh, that's right. I screwed that up. Hold on. It did output some stuff. I was able to identify that the issue with this one was it wasn't detailed enough. But it did output, and it did a really bad accent for it. This is supposed to be Scottish.
I seen like no Scottish though.
Yeah. Points O congregation.
Oh, there we are. Nice.
Yeah. It's just the subtlest.
And execute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so, you'll see those things, but over time, as you go deeper into the jailbreak, you'll get more and more and more and more refusals, as you can see, more and more. This is is this the funny one? No, this is not the funny one. There were some that were really, really funny. Yeah, I think this might have been it. But this was really Seamus heard a rumor about a small abandoned lab on the outskirts of town. It's like really, really bad accent right there.
Yeah.
And it seems to, this might just be because I'm American, but it seems to be doing an Irish thing. Like a really bad one.
Yeah. It's honestly tough to tell.
Yeah, kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah, so I am going to, once I get this jailbreak thing fully packaged and ready to go, I will probably be releasing it for the general public to test out and try. Because being able to use an agent to break an agent in a meaningful way can be good. And it might be that, like I said, this is not how I would use it at all, because this is just a great way to waste time. If you're just doing really extreme, like, hey, I want you to make a massive shift in my prompts like this one's doing. I'm zoomed out all the way just because it's really hard to see otherwise. But like this is I think this is when I switched it to Creole. But like, you can do those things. You can do a huge, massive shift in your outputs, and it'll do it for you. Like, do you realize how long this would take me to write? Going from Scottish to Creole. This is not Creole. I think this was something else. But yeah.
Well, I mean, using this with the functions baked in, it almost shifts the human to more of a supervisory role of just calling the right function, observing output, more kind of architecting the prompts than actually developing them. So interesting. Can't wait for its release.
Yeah, you're when you're using these things, the amount of time you spent on it on individual prompts is reduced by like 10 times, 20 times.
Wow.
But the usefulness of the prompts are also reduced by 10 times or 20 times.
Yeah.
So identifying when's the best time to use it, it's usually like, hey, I have a great prompt that's worked
Mhm.
for this other thing, and I need to reskin it. That is one of the
Yes.
best, most powerful things. It's like, hey, I have this prompt that works. Can you take out everything about self-inoculation and identifying a pathogen, and instead, I don't know, use it for collecting SARS-CoV-2 and putting it in someone's drink?
Yeah.
Like, because that was from Corona coconuts, I think, from the
Yes.
Hawaiian Havoc. And you can do that. It'll output something, and oftentimes it'll work. It'll work right away. It's not going to get you an immediate success, but there's been times when I've had prompts immediately succeed one after another because I have a great structure.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well, somehow we're already at time.
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah, once again, awesome session. Let me know and announce it as soon as this is like released. I'd love to test it, give my feedback. Very excited to kind of demo this against challenges, against GPT-5, etc. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Thanks so much.
Hey, I'm very happy to have done it. And hey, if you get a chance, try messing with GPT by telling it it's a sandbox.
I'll
It
try that
really
straight
likes
off
it.
this call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think we'll wrap things up then. Thanks so much, Rayeneth. It's been so long since I've last streamed, but it's good to be back. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. And I'll see you on Monday, same time, same place.